Hello, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 2, Solving Problems with Multiplication and Division, Lesson 1. I'll share my screen. So, in your previous lesson, you learned about adding and subtracting standard form numbers. That was the last lesson of Block 1. In today's lesson, you're going to learn about solving problems with multiplication and division, in which your very first lesson is learning about properties of multiplication and division. So pay special attention to some of the new words or vocabulary you're going to develop as you learn in this lesson. So, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell so that when new videos are uploaded, you'll be notified. By doing that, you'll help us grow our mission to educate the global population of children who may not have the financial resources to pay for high quality maths education. Thank you. I would like you to do the retrieval practice questions in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. For the first one, here are some of the facts families that you can find from this bar model. Here you have 9 add 13 will be 22. Again, 13 add 9 is equal to 22. We can also have 22 subtract 13 is equal to 9. And then 22 subtract 9 is equal to 13. Here we have 7 times 4 is equal to 28. 4 times 7 is equal to 28. 28 divided by 4 is equal to 7. And 28 divided by 7 is equal to 4. Now, we're asked for the last question to use the less than symbol, the greater than symbol, or the equal sign to complete the statement. They are actually equal. Now, we're going to learn something interesting about this in this lesson. Let's carry on. Here is our new learning. Here are some facts. Thinking about the example we did, here are some facts we can deduce from this block diagram or this bar model. We know that 7 times 4 is equal to 28. This simply means if we had 7 counters, we're going to have 4 rows of those counters to give us 28. 4 times 7 means if we had 4 counters, we're going to have 7 rows of that to give us 28. 7 columns of that to give us 28. So 7 columns, okay? All right. And here are some other facts we learned. So if we were to have 4 groups each, we're going to have 7 of those groups to make 28. That's what this means. And then if we were to have 7 groups, 7 in each group, groups of 7, then we're going to have 4 of those to make 28. So that's what it means. So these are some of the properties of multiplication and division that you need to start learning about. Now, we can say this is 7 by 4, which is 7 times 4, or if we swap it around, that is a 4 by 7. And here are the division facts also. 28 divided by 4, but is 4 divided by 28 the same as 28 divided by 4? Of course not. So one thing you must know, the very first property you must know is that multiplication is commutative. Commutative. So commutative is spelled commutative. And then, but division is not commutative. Commutative means you can swap the numbers around and the calculation will still be right. So 7 times 4 swapped around, 4 times 7 is the same thing, but we cannot do that for division. So let me repeat one more. Let me repeat one more time. Multiplication is commutative, and you know what commutative means, but division is not commutative. All right, here is this one. There is something else you need to pay attention to. These calculations are actually equal. These are also equal, but have a think. Do you know what name we could call these? When multiplication and addition means that we can group the calculations in different ways but still get the same answer. Do you know what it's called? It's actually associative. So that's the word. So when you hear the word, are the calculations associative? They're asking you whether if you were to group, so this means grouping, you're associating things with each other. So if we were to group things like we've done, will the calculation give us the same answer? So only addition and multiplication does that. Okay, let's move on. But we can generalize this for anything. It could be decimals, it could be, just name it. This could be decimals, it could be fractions, but we'll get the same property. Okay, remember we're talking about properties of addition, multiplication and division. So multiplication and addition are associative. So we can group the calculations and we'll get the same answer. So it should be true. If it's always true, then we can generalize it with letters. So we're now into algebra. So it means this is equal to that. So also we can associate the letters. Okay, so when you see algebra problems, which you will do in the future, you should know that addition and multiplication are associative. But what about division? Do you think division will behave in the same way? Let's check it out. So if we do it this way, it means this will be 18 divided by 2 because 6 divided by 3 is 2. And if we do it this way, it means 18 divided by 6 will be 3, but 3 divided by 3 is 1. So they're not equal. So division is not associative. So take note, the only operations that are associative are addition and multiplication. All right, it's now time for you to practice. Pause the video and answer question 1 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 1, here are the answers. You can mark your work and celebrate your success. All right, so here you can see which two divisions are represented by the array. All right, you can write this. Yeah, that represents 12 divided by 3 and it could be 12 divided by 4. And then draw a different array that can be made from the same number of counters. Yeah, it can be 2 by 6. And then here, complete the fact family for your array. So by now, you should know how to write the facts family. Pause the video and answer questions 2 and 3 in 4 minutes. You can take shorter time. You can take a longer time. Just work at your own pace, okay? The most important thing is for you to enjoy learning. All right, assuming you've paused the video, here are the answers. So here we're asked, write the fact family shown in the bar model. Okay, by now you should know how to write fact families. Yeah, different calculations that you can pull out from the bar model or that you can deduce from the bar model. So here, Scott thinks that 40 divided by 8 is the same as 8 divided by 40. We definitely do not agree with Scott because you remember the reason? Division is not commutative. Yeah? All right. Here, you're asked write true or false next to each statement. So here, you're required to complete these statements, right? Okay, so you're going to have to, obviously check the calculation before you made your decision. Pause the video and answer question 4 in 2 minutes or a minute. Should be able to do it in a minute. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. So here you're asked, explain why both of these statements are true, because multiplication is commutative, right? It is commutative. You can see here, yeah, that is moved around. I think the right word should be for this one. This is associative because we've grouped that. Sorry, that's a mistake, my mistake. And then here, this is commutative. Yeah, this is commutative because we've moved things around. Okay, but when we're grouping things differently, like here we've grouped B and C, we say associative. All right. So correction, this one will say, this one is associative. We're grouping things. You can see we grouped this one. It wasn't grouped here. Yeah. And then this is commutative. Okay. All right. Let's move on. All right. Let's look at some new learning before you move on to do your last questions for the lesson. So if we have this bar model, you can see that we have 5 B's. Now, they are all equal, so it definitely means that the B, all their variables represent the same amount. So we can write this like this. We can say W is equal to 5B, 5 lots of B, which means 5 times B is same thing as B times 5. Do you remember why? That's it. They're commutative. Multiplication is commutative. Now, do you think we can write it like this? Well, we can, but not really. Not really. It's not the convention. That is not the, in certain things in life, there is a proper way to do things. So in maths, we've all agreed that we write the number first, we call the number coefficient, and then we write the variable next to the coefficient. Yeah. So that wouldn't be right. Now, what other facts can we deduce from the bar model? So you now know that we can write different, mathematical facts. So we can write, for example, I'll wait for you to have a think. All right. So we can write, for example, W divided by 5. So W split into 5 equal parts to be equal to B. We can also write W put into groups of B will give us 5 of lots of them, okay? Which is W divided by B is equal to 5. Okay, let's look at this example. Look at these different calculations, this calculation. Can you see that there is a different way to do this same calculation? So 18 times 4, if we wanted to do it mentally, so remember we did mental maths in a previous lessons in block 1, we can do it in our head very quickly. Okay, 18 times 4, I just need to double 18 and double it again. So we can do that really quickly in our heads, which will be 72. Okay. But what about this one? Look at these different calculations. Which calculations do you see below that are equivalent to this? Have a think. Can you spot them really quickly? All right. We know the first one is definitely not, yeah, because 4 times 4 is 16. So it's not equivalent to 37 times 8. So that doesn't fit. This one definitely is. You can see that 4 times 2 is 8. So 37 times 4 times 2 is equivalent to that calculation above there. This one is also equivalent, yeah, because you can see 2 times 4 is 8. So 37 times 2 times 4 is equivalent to 37 times 8. This one definitely is not, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. But this one is, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So by thinking about calculations like this, we can look at different ways of answering a problem by decomposing the components of the problem into their factors. Oh, I bet you're thinking that's a new word. Don't worry about it. We'll come across. We'll be talking about factors soon. All right, it's time for you to pause the video and answer the questions 5 and 6 in 4 minutes. All right. So assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. So here you were asked to draw a bar model to illustrate 7D is equal to E. So you draw the E and you draw the 7Ds, equal spaces for the D. And then you're told what other facts can your bar model show? The bar model can show D divided by E is equal to 7. All right. Sorry, E divided by D is equal to 7, or E divided by 7 is equal to D. Yeah. All right. Next, you're asked to use Dexter's method, knowing that to multiply by 4 means to double and to double again to do these calculations. And these are the answers. Pause the video and answer question 7 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 7, here are the answers. Okay, so here you ask, Aisha wants to use a quick method to divide numbers by 5. Which of the methods will work? Okay, so use one of the correct methods to complete these calculations. So looking at which methods would work, so to divide numbers by 5, so you can divide by 10, then multiply by 2. Do you think that will work? No, don't think so. Right, so let's see. So to divide by 2, yeah, so if we divide by 10, sorry, so let's get a pen. So if we divide by 10, okay, so it means, imagine we have a number here, we divide by 10. Let's say, for example, we have 10 divided by 10, and then we times by 2. Let's say, for example, so we're trying to, so Aisha wants to use a quick method to divide numbers by 5. So it's to divide by 10 times by 2. So if we do this, this will be equal to 2, right? So which is the same thing as saying 10 divided by 5, which is equal to 2. So perhaps this is a really quick way to do it. So you divide the number by 10 and you multiply by 2. So for example, 120 divided by 5 will be 120 divided by 10, which is 12. And then you times by 2, which is 24. Okay, so you can use the methods. So here, 14 divided by 10 is 1.4. 1.4 times 2 is 2.8. Here, 4.8 divided by 10 is 0.48. Double of 0.48 will be 0.96. Okay, so this is a quick way of doing the calculation. All right, let's look at the next one. Here you ask, which statements are in the fact family as 13 times 4 is equal to 498. Yeah. So let's look at the facts family. Just a minute. So if 13 times 46 is this. So the first one could be this 598 divided by 46. Where is it? 598 divided by 46 will be equal to 13. That's one. Another one is 598 divided by 13 will be equal to 46. That one. Another one could be so another one could be, let's see. Yeah. 598 divided by 46. Yeah, 13 is equal to 598. Yeah, that one. This one is also another fact family. So it's just moved around. So that one was moved to the left and that one was moved to the right. So 598 is equal to 13 times 46. Okay. And then this one, 598 is equal to 46 times 13. All right. So these are the different facts family that we can find here. All right. So you can discuss that with your partner if you can find more. All right, that brings us to the end of the lesson. So far, what we've learned in this lesson are the different properties of multiplication and division. We've learned that, number one, addition and multiplication are commutative. What does that mean? You can swap the numbers around in the calculation and you get the same answer. So for example, 2 plus 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 2. 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. And then we learned that addition and multiplication are associative. So if you have, for example, A plus B in bracket plus C, it's also the same thing as A plus B plus C now in brackets. You get the same answer. Same thing if it was multiplication. All right. Well done for sticking around and learning. Until next time, take care and bye-bye.